Hello and welcome to The Appointment. I am Pranjal Sharma. Joining me today for a conversation is Ritesh Agarwal, who is the founder of OYO. Ritesh, thank you very much for being on the show with us today.
Thanks for having me here, Pranjal.
Ritesh, you have started something very exciting and new with OYO in the hospitality sector. Tell us a little bit about the origins of the concept, even though you are much celebrated. But I'd like to hear in your words, how did this idea come about?
So, reality is our country faced this problem of finding clean, comfortable rooms at in the budget segment forever. I mean, when I was growing up as a young kid, all the time when our family would travel, and especially when I grew up as a conservative family, all the travels used to be to religious destinations. And all of these travels would end me up at one of our relatives' houses, especially because there were not great, clean, comfortable places available for the right price. So first off, this is not any amazing revelation that I had as an idea. This was a problem that existed forever. At the same time, it got connected to me when I was traveling for close to 3 months every day at a new property right after my 12th grade. And when I realized that across all of these experiences, while I was having great affordable times, there was something wrong about each place. They were not predictable and there was a surprise every time I checked in there, which is where the intent of solving this problem came about.
There was no consistency.
There was no consistency. And more than consistency, there were a lot of surprises. That is, at one hotel that you would go to, the beds would be really torn. At one of these places, the washrooms won't be clean. At one place, you can't pay by credit card. So very, very small issues that are hygiene in terms of expectation.
From understanding the problem to creating a business model around it, to be able to then convince people to invest in your idea, and then to be able to establish and run a business. These are very critical steps, and a lot of startups and entrepreneurs have faltered at some or the other for various reasons. What was the process that you think allowed you to reach where you are today?
Yeah, so I think naturally, if I were to answer you, there would be two very important things that would lead to ensuring that you keep jumping across all the humps. Look, there is of course a small element of luck in that, because if there was something that drastically changed and even if you did everything right, things might be different. But I'm a big believer in putting your input right, which means if you're confident that you've put in the right input behind what you're trying to do, the output are generally decently good. And then of course there can be a difference between decently good to exceptionally good. The first thing among the two is building a great team around yourself. Remember, I was right out of school when I was starting this company, which means that most of the companies in India are run by the founders and their friends, which means my friends were all schoolmates. So I couldn't have brought them along to run large functions in the company. So I spent more than a year just bringing in some of the smartest people in the world to come and bring a team together, which is not just the team which is very sharp, which is level-headed, but can also roll up their sleeves to get stuff done where required.
So you were just out of school kid trying to convince industry veterans and experienced people to work with you. That would have been really easy, right?
That is extremely difficult, naturally very difficult. But I have seen over time that if you speak sense and talk about something that people can resonate with, along with some validation. I was lucky because I had the Peter Thiel Fellowships validation. There were a few angels who had chosen to invest in the company. So there was already some validation behind the cause that I was building for. And then I was speaking sense. And of course, some of these were genuinely very good people to choose to come in and work with me, which is why we were able to build a very solid leadership. And these are incredible professionals in each of their fields, everything from our COO to the CFO, the Chief Strategy Officer. Each of these people are veterans in their own fields of execution. The second thing is being true to your idea and not giving up your mission for the sake of all the cool things in life. For example, we were just talking before the interview that we have set up a small training academy to graduate students out of our own training systems. Reality is, if you generally look at the current convention, new age digital companies are not expected to do this. It's actually uncool to do all of this really crazy hardworking stuff. But for us, delivering service is among the top priorities of anything that we do, which is why not only do we have this training academy, but we have more than 300 people on the field in every city where we operate, to ensure we can standardize the hotels, and after that audit them every 3 days to ensure the service is great. And if a guest needs any delight measure, be in person in front of the guest to deliver that experience.
That's important because there is the phrase of aggregation, and
Correct.
aggregation by itself has become a great business model, or at
Yeah.
least conceptually that
Correct.
if I can aggregate something, then I'm going to be a great successful entrepreneur. But
Yeah.
what you're suggesting is that it's not just about aggregation.
Yeah.
It is about investing in
Yes.
the idea and the
Capability
sector that
building.
you are in.
Yes.
So it's equally about capability, but also making sure that the sector also transforms.
Yes. We actually, I personally dislike the word aggregators significantly because we are not aggregators. What we are effectively is a brand network where each partner that we go and put our stamp on, the quality is great. And that's not just great because we've once stamped it, but because every day, any service that the guest expects is equally my responsibility as much as my partners.
That's a very big risk in a way.
Yes.
A risk in the sense that you are creating a brand and you're taking ownership of the quality of a service
experience.
where you may not be completely in control of.
Yes, absolutely.
And is that something that doesn't scare you as a possibility that your brand, which you're creating and you're selling, is not completely in your hands?
Yeah. No, look, first off, when we think about our business, we have a very interesting dialogue internally that we are big fans. Our company is a big Bollywood fan group, right? Like all of us love Bollywood.
Right.
So one of the dialogues in a movie called Khosla Ghosla was called, and this is how India loves to live, which is a party ho ya broker. हमारे देश में पार्टी की रिस्पेक्ट हमेशा ब्रोकर से ज़्यादा होती है. So we are clear कि हम पार्टी हैं. So when we think about that philosophically, after that a lot of these decisions become easy.
So you're the consumer in a way.
Yeah, we want to nobody owns the consumer at the end of the day, but it's our responsibility to ensure that the consumer has a great experience come what may.
So you're invested in the experience of the
our guest.
consumer.